A dying alien mother saved by human compassion, the transit station known as Haven 47 never slept. Ships arrived every hour from dozens of star systems. Some came full of cargo, some full of people, and some full of silence. The station floated in deep space, far from any planet, built as neutral ground where no species ruled and no weapons were allowed. It was supposed to be a place of safety. Most days, Haven 47 felt cold and busy. Creatures of every shape and size moved through its wide halls. Some walked on legs, some floated, some rolled, crawled, or glided. The air changed from section to section to match the needs of different species. Lights adjusted color and strength. Translation fields hummed softly, turning strange sounds into common speech. Humans were still new here. They had only joined the Galactic Union 20 years ago, which was nothing on a cosmic scale. Many species still watched humans with careful eyes. Humans were loud, emotional, always asking questions, always trying to help. That was why most of them worked in service roles: engineering, logistics, education, and medicine. Dr. Elias Renner stood near a long window that looked out into space. He was tall, with tired eyes and short dark hair that never stayed neat. His medical coat was folded over his arm instead of worn properly. He had been on duty for 14 hours and his shift was almost done. Almost. His wrist unit vibrated softly. He sighed and looked down. "Medical alert?" he asked no one. The unit projected a small blue symbol in the air. Unclassified life form, severe biological distress. Observation requested. No intervention authorized. Elias frowned. "No intervention," he repeated quietly. That usually meant trouble. He turned away from the window and walked toward the lower transit ring. The floors there were less clean, the lights softer. This was where refugees waited, where travelers with no clear destination stayed until the station decided what to do with them. As Elias walked, he passed many beings who barely noticed him. A group of insect-like traders argued quietly. A tall, crystal-skinned diplomat stood still, reading data streams only it could see. A small, furry creature slept inside a floating basket, and then Elias saw her. She was alone, pressed against the curved wall near a maintenance corridor that most people ignored. Her body shape was unfamiliar, long and low, with smooth, dark skin that reflected the light like wet stone. 4 thin limbs folded close to her body, shaking slightly. Her breathing was slow and uneven, but what caught Elias' attention was not her. It was what she was holding. Tucked against her chest was a small, translucent pod no larger than a human infant. Inside it, something moved. Soft light pulsed gently from within like a heartbeat made of stars. Elias stopped walking. Other beings passed by without slowing. Some glanced at her and quickly looked away. Others changed direction slightly, as if avoiding an invisible line around her space. No one helped. Elias stepped closer. His wrist unit buzzed again, this time with more detail. Species, Cathari, isolationist classification. The alien mother lifted her head slightly. Her eyes, large, dark, and glassy, focused on him. There was no fear in them, only exhaustion. Slowly, with great effort, she pulled the pod closer to herself, her limbs tightening around it. Her body trembled as she did so. Elias raised his hands and took a step back. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The translation field adjusted his words into patterns the alien could understand. Her eyes flickered just slightly. Elias looked around. No guards, no officials. Just moving crowds and quiet indifference. He crouched down at a careful distance. "I'm a doctor," he said. "Human medical." The alien made a low sound, not a growl, not a word. It sounded like wind moving through stone. His wrist unit flashed again. Warning: direct medical assistance prohibited. Elias clenched his jaw. "Yeah," he muttered, "I see that." He studied her from where he sat. Her skin showed faint lines of dull gray spreading from her core. That was tissue failure. Her breathing was too slow. Her energy output was dropping fast, but the pod was stable. The life inside it was strong. "She's holding on for the child," Elias realized. He had seen this before in humans and non-humans alike. Parents who refused rest, mothers who ignored pain. Beings who spent their last strength protecting something smaller than themselves. He leaned back slightly, careful not to cross any invisible boundaries. "I can't help you," he said quietly. "Not the way I want to." The alien watched him closely now. Her breathing hitched. "But I can stay," he added, "if you want." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly the alien lowered her head back against the wall. Her grip on the pod did not loosen, but she did not pull it away either. Elias took that as permission. Time passed. People continued to walk by. Some glanced at the human sitting near the dying alien. A few whispered through private channels. No one interfered. Elias checked his wrist unit again. Her life signs were still falling. He did not touch her. Instead, he spoke. He talked about simple things, about how the station worked, about how ships came and went, about how humans had once been alone too, afraid of the stars. The alien listened. Her eyes closed, then opened again. Each movement looked painful. After a while, Elias noticed something strange. Her breathing slowed less when he spoke. When he stopped talking, her breathing became rough again. "So that's it," he murmured. "You don't want to be alone." His wrist unit did not warn him about that. He continued speaking, keeping his voice calm and steady. "I don't know your name," he said, "but your child is strong. I can see that. You did well." The alien made another soft sound. This one was different, not pain, recognition. Hours later, a tall figure stopped near them. It was Observer Threx, a member of the station's Cultural Oversight Council. Threx's body looked like a tall column of dark glass with light moving inside it like slow lightning. "You are violating expected behavior," Threx said calmly. Elias looked up. "I'm sitting," he replied, "talking. You are influencing a protected cultural subject. I'm not touching her, I'm not treating her, I'm not telling her what to do. That is still influence." Elias stood slowly. "She's dying," he said, "and everyone here knows it. That is acceptable under her cultural law." Elias looked around at the passing crowds. "So letting her die alone is respect," he said, "but sitting with her is a problem." Threx was silent for a moment. "The Cathari believe accepting aid weakens the offspring," Threx said. "They choose death to preserve meaning." "I'm not offering aid," Elias replied. "I'm offering presence." Threx's internal lights shifted. "Presence is undefined." "Exactly," Elias said. Another pause. Threx looked at the alien mother, then at the glowing pod. "The child will survive." "Yes," Elias said, "if nothing else goes wrong." "And you claim no responsibility for the outcome?" Elias nodded. "I'm just here." Threx considered this. "Very well," the observer said at last. "No violation recorded." Threx turned and walked away. Elias exhaled slowly. He sat back down. The alien mother opened her eyes again. They focused on him, and this time there was something new there. Trust. Her breathing grew shallow. Elias spoke more softly now. "You're safe here," he said. "No one will take your child." The pod pulsed brighter for a moment. Somewhere in the station, unnoticed by most, environmental systems adjusted slightly. The air temperature in the lower ring warmed by a fraction. The light softened by a small degree. No one ordered it. But a human technician watching quiet data screens had noticed an anomaly and made a tiny change, just to be kind. The alien mother's breathing steadied again. Elias felt a strange weight settle in his chest. This was only the beginning. And the galaxy had no idea what it was about to learn from a human who chose not to walk away. Haven 47 continued to move around them. People walked. Machines hummed. Ships docked and undocked. Life went on as if nothing important was happening in the quiet corner of the lower transit ring. But something important was happening. Dr. Elias Renner remained seated beside the alien mother. He had not moved for a long time. His legs felt stiff and his back ached, but he ignored it. The alien's breathing had grown shallow again, uneven like a broken rhythm. The dark lines across her skin spread slowly, like shadows at sunset. She was running out of time. Elias checked his wrist unit once more. The readings were clear and cruel. Biological stability declining. Unaware of how close it was to losing its mother, Elias felt something twist inside him. Humans had a word for this feeling, a heavy mix of sadness, anger, and helpless care. He leaned forward slightly. "You're doing so well," he said softly. "You really are." The alien mother's eyes opened a little. They reflected the station lights in strange, broken patterns. She made a low sound, weak but steady. The translation field worked quietly. Meaning uncertain, emotional intent detected. Elias smiled sadly. "That's okay," he said. "You don't have to explain." Nearby, two station workers slowed as they passed. One was avian, feathers a dull blue. The other was tall and thin, with skin like polished metal. "Is that a Cathari?" the avian whispered. "Yes," the metal-skinned one replied. "They refuse help." "Then why is the human sitting there?" "I don't know. Humans are strange." They walked away. Elias heard them but said nothing. Minutes passed, then more. Eventually, a quiet chime sounded in his ear. "Dr. Renner," a calm voice said, "this is medical control. Your shift ended 3 hours ago." "I know," Elias replied. "You are requested to return to staff quarters." Elias looked at the alien mother. "She's not stable," he said. "I'm staying." There was a pause. "Understood," medical control replied carefully. "Be advised, no intervention is authorized." "I understand." The connection ended. Elias rested his hands on his knees. He felt tired down to his bones, but he also felt alert, like something important depended on every second. The alien mother shifted suddenly. Her grip on the pod tightened and her breathing became fast and rough. Elias leaned closer without touching. "It's okay," he said quickly. "You're not alone." Her eyes locked onto his. For the first time, a clear translation came through. "Stay." Elias froze. The word was simple, weak, but unmistakable. "I'm here," he said immediately. "I won't leave." The alien mother relaxed slightly. Her breathing slowed again, though it still sounded painful. Elias' heart pounded. She had spoken, not to ask for help, not to beg. Just to ask him to stay. Across the station, information traveled fast. Observer Threx stood in a high observation chamber, watching data streams flow like rivers of light. Reports from Haven 47 scrolled endlessly. Trade numbers, diplomatic notes, refugee counts. Then a flag appeared. Human prolonged proximity to protected Cathari subject. Threx tilted slightly, focusing attention. A secondary note followed. No direct assistance detected. Emotional engagement ongoing. Threx's internal light patterns shifted. Emotional engagement. That was a gray area. Galactic law was very clear about physical aid, medical treatment, and technological interference. But emotions? Most species avoided emotional involvement with outsiders. It was dangerous, unpredictable. Humans, however, treated emotion as a tool. And a bond, Threx accessed cultural files on humans, species profile, humans. The alien mother listened. Her vital signs, while still failing, showed brief moments of stabilization when the human spoke. "That is unexpected," Threx murmured. Back in the transit ring, Elias continued talking. He spoke about Earth, about rain and oceans. About how humans named their children before they were born, dreaming of who they might become. "I don't know if your people do that," he said. "But humans do. We imagine futures." The alien mother's eyes softened. She shifted the pod slightly, turning it so the human could see it better. The glow inside shimmered, forming faint shapes. Elias held his breath. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Your child is beautiful." Another translation came through, faint but clear. "She must not be weak." Elias nodded slowly. "She won't be," he said. "Not because you suffer, but because you care." The alien mother's breathing faltered. Her body trembled. Elias felt panic rise, sharp and sudden. He wanted to help. His training screamed at him to act, to give fluids, adjust chemistry, stimulate organs. His wrist unit remained silent. No warnings, no permissions. He clenched his fists. "I know your rule," he said quietly. "I know you believe help makes the child weak." He met her eyes. "But being alone doesn't make them strong either." The alien mother stared at him. Her eyes widened slightly. He quickly raised his hands again. "I'm not telling you what to do," he said. "I'm just saying your child already has strength. You gave it to her." Silence stretched between them. The station lights dimmed slightly as the artificial night cycle began. The lower ring grew quieter. Fewer travelers passed through. A human engineer named Mara Chen stood in a control room nearby, watching environmental data. "Why is this section so cold?" she muttered. She adjusted the temperature up by 0.5 degrees. "Nothing wrong with being comfortable," she said to herself. In the transit ring, the alien mother sighed, a long, shaky sound. Her breathing steadied again. Elias noticed the change. "Thank you," he whispered, though he didn't know who he was thanking. Time passed slowly. The alien mother began to weaken again as hours slipped by. Her movements grew smaller. Her eyes closed for longer periods. Elias stayed. At one point, a station medic approached him, a fellow human. "Elias," she said quietly, "you okay?" He nodded. "She's still alive," he said. "That's something." The medic looked at the alien mother with gentle eyes. "You're not breaking any rules," she said. "But you are making some people nervous." Elias gave a tired smile. "Good." The medic squeezed his shoulder and walked away. Another translation came through, barely audible. "Why?" Elias leaned in. "Why what? Why stay?" He didn't answer right away. Because he couldn't explain empathy with laws, because he couldn't explain compassion with data. Because no one should die alone, he said at last. The alien mother's eyes opened one final time, clearer than before. She looked at him, at the station, at the pod. And for the first time, she loosened her grip slightly, just a little. Elias noticed. His breath caught. She wasn't giving up the child. She was trusting the world. The wrist unit beeped softly. Life signs, critical decline. Elias stayed where he was. He kept talking. And across the station, unseen and unplanned, systems continued to shift. Tiny changes made by humans who noticed suffering and chose kindness without being asked. The galaxy still believed humans were loud, emotional, and reckless. But slowly, quietly, that belief was about to change. The artificial night cycle of Haven 47 settled fully over the station. Lights dimmed across the lower transit ring, turning bright white paths into soft blue lines. The crowds thinned. Footsteps echoed less often. The station did not sleep, but it learned how to whisper. Dr. Elias Renner remained beside the alien mother. He had stopped checking the time. Minutes and hours no longer felt different. Everything narrowed down to breath sound and the faint glow of the pod resting against the alien's chest. Her breathing was shallow now. Each breath took effort. Each pause felt too long. Elias sat still, afraid that even moving might disturb something fragile. "You're still here," he said softly. "That matters." The alien mother's eyes opened slowly. They no longer tracked movement well, but they found him anyway. Her gaze rested on his face, steady and searching. The translation field shimmered. "You do not leave." "No," Elias said. "I don't." A faint tremor moved through her body, not pain this time, emotion. She shifted one limb, weakly, resting it closer to him than before, not touching but close enough that the space between them felt smaller. Elias felt his throat tighten. Across the station, observer Threx continued watching. The data no longer made sense. Cathari biology was clear. Terminal decline followed a known pattern, yet this subject lingered beyond expected limits. Small fluctuations appeared whenever the human was present. Threx accessed deeper archives. No record existed of a Cathari surviving longer through companionship. "This should not matter," Threx said quietly, and yet it did. Back in the transit ring, a quiet group gathered at a distance, not close enough to interfere. Not far enough to ignore, different species, different shapes, all watching the same thing, a dying mother, a human who refused to walk away. Elias noticed them, but he did not speak to them. His attention stayed on the alien. "You've been strong for a long time," he said. "It's okay to rest." The alien mother's eyes narrowed slightly. The translation came slowly. "If I rest, she is alone." Elias shook his head gently. "No," he said, "she won't be." The alien mother studied him carefully. Her species believed many things. That strength came from endurance. That purity came from isolation. That outsiders weakened the self, but nothing in her long life had prepared her for this moment, for a stranger who gave nothing but presence, for warmth that asked for nothing in return. Her grip on the pod loosened a little more. Elias noticed the change immediately. He did not reach out, he did not move, he only spoke. "I can watch," he said, "just watch, nothing more." The alien mother closed her eyes. A long silence followed. Then slowly she shifted the pod away from her chest and placed it gently on the floor between them. The crowd gasped quietly. Elias froze, his heart hammered. The pod rested safely, its glow steady and calm. The life inside moved, unaware of the moment's importance. The alien mother lay back against the wall, her body shaking from the effort. Elias stayed where he was. "You're doing this," he said softly. "You're choosing." Her eyes opened again. "Witness," the translation said. Elias nodded. "I see you," he replied. Across the station, alarms did not sound. No laws were broken. No medical aid was given, but something ancient shifted. The alien mother's breathing slowed even more. Her chest barely moved now. Her skin dimmed, the dark lines spreading until they covered most of her body. She was very close to the end. Elias felt tears gather in his eyes. He did not wipe them away. "It's okay," he said again. "Your child is safe." The pod pulsed brighter as if responding. A soft sound filled the air, low and resonant like distant bells. It came from the alien mother, from deep within her chest. Elias understood without translation. It was a farewell. Minutes passed, then her breathing stopped. The station seemed to pause with her. No alarms rang, no systems reacted. The alien mother lay still, her face calm, her body at rest. Elias bowed his head. "I'm honored," he whispered. For a long moment nothing happened. Then the pod shifted. Cracks of light spread across its surface, not damage, but change. The glow inside grew brighter, warmer. The crowd leaned closer, careful not to cross any lines. Elias held his breath. The pod opened slowly, like a flower responding to sunrise. Inside was the child, small, fragile, beautiful. Its body shimmered with soft light, changing color gently as it breathed. Tiny limbs curled and stretched. Its eyes opened for the first time, reflecting the world around it. The child made a soft sound. Elias' heart broke and healed at the same time. Observer Threx stood very still in the observation chamber. "This was not predicted," Threx said. The data streams confirmed it. The Cathari child was healthy, more than healthy. Its readings showed unusual stability and adaptability, exposure to multiple environments, exposure to emotional presence. "This should not be possible," Threx murmured. In the transit ring, Elias spoke quietly. "Hello," he said. "Welcome." The child turned its head toward the sound of his voice. The glow around it brightened. The crowd reacted with soft sounds of surprise. The child was responding. Elias did not touch it. He did not pick it up. He only stayed where he was, visible and calm. "You're not alone," he said. "You never will be." Station systems began adjusting again, tiny changes unnoticed by central command. Air balanced itself. Light softened further. The environment adapted, not because of orders. Because humans noticed. A small human child traveling with her parents tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Why is everyone quiet?" she whispered. The mother knelt beside her. "Because something important just happened," she said. "What?" The mother looked at the glowing child. "Someone was loved," she replied. The child nodded, satisfied. Observer Threx turned away from the data. A new report formed in Threx's mind, though no official channel yet existed for it. Human compassion alters outcomes without force. Elias remained beside the alien mother's body until station officials arrived to respectfully prepare it for return to her people. When they asked him to step away, he did so slowly. Before leaving, he looked once more at the child. The child looked back. And for just a moment, its glow matched the rhythm of his heartbeat. The galaxy had rules. Humans had something else. And now everyone was beginning to notice. Haven 47 did not announce what had happened. There were no alarms, no emergency signals, no official declaration. But everyone felt it. The lower transit ring felt different after the Cathari mother died. The air seemed warmer, the lights softer. Conversations grew quieter, as if the station itself had decided to show respect. The child remained. Protected inside a transparent environmental field, the newborn Cathari rested calmly. Its soft glow filled the small space where its mother had taken her last breath. Station officials followed protocol with care, moving slowly, speaking gently. "Doctor." Elias Renner stood nearby, silent. He had stepped back when asked. He had obeyed every instruction. But he did not leave the area, not yet. The child's presence pulled attention without effort. Beings from many species paused as they passed. Some stared openly. Others watched from a distance, pretending not to care. None of them forgot what they saw. A mother who chose trust. A human who stayed. Observer Threx arrived in person. The tall, glass-like being moved with quiet precision, internal lights shifting slowly. Threx stood before the scene for a long time without speaking. "You witnessed the transition," Threx said at last, turning to Elias. "Yes," Elias replied. "You did not interfere. No, you did not provide aid. No, and yet," Threx said slowly, "the outcome changed." Elias did not argue. "I didn't change her biology," he said. "I didn't change her rules." Threx looked at the child. "You changed something," Threx replied. Around them, data moved fast. Reports from Haven 47 spread through internal networks. Cultural councils flagged the event. Scientific groups requested recordings. Diplomatic observers asked questions. One question appeared again and again. How did a Cathari child survive without isolation? The answer was uncomfortable: compassion. In a quiet conference chamber, representatives from multiple species gathered via holographic link. Faces and forms filled the room, some solid, some made of light, some barely understandable. "The human violated the spirit of the law," one voice argued. "No law was broken," another replied. "Emotional interference is still interference." "Then define it," a third demanded. Silence followed. No one could, because emotion was not a measurable weapon. It was not technology. It was not force. It was simply presence, doctor. Elias Renner was questioned twice, not aggressively, not accusingly, but carefully. "Why did you stay?" one official asked. Elias answered honestly, because she was alone. Were you aware of the possible consequences? Yes. And you stayed anyway? Yes. The official studied him. Humans continue to surprise us, they said. Elias shrugged slightly. We surprise ourselves too. The Cathari child began showing unusual responses. It reacted to voices, to light changes, to emotional tones. When humans were nearby, its glow grew brighter. When voices were harsh or cold, it dimmed slightly. Scientists recorded everything. They did not understand it yet, but they understood one thing clearly. Isolation had not made the child stronger. Connection had. Observer Threx submitted a preliminary report to the Galactic Cultural Archive. The report was short, precise, and dangerous. Observation. Conclusion: cultural assumptions regarding weakness may be incomplete. The archive flagged the report for review, high-priority review. Across the station, humans spoke quietly among themselves. They did not celebrate. They did not claim victory. They simply continued doing what they always did, helping where they could, noticing small things, making quiet adjustments. A human cleaner left flowers near the place where the mother had died. No one ordered it. No one removed them. A human technician adjusted the environmental field near the child, improving comfort by a small percentage. It was logged as routine optimization. A human teacher paused with her students nearby and explained softly, "This is why kindness matters." The students listened. Other species noticed. One by one, slowly. A Cathari diplomatic vessel arrived 3 days later. The representatives moved carefully, tension visible in every motion. They expected judgment. They expected shame. They did not expect silence. They did not expect respect. They were shown recordings of the final hours, unedited, untouched. They watched their kind choose trust. They watched a human sit and stay. No one spoke when the recordings ended. The eldest Cathari representative finally stepped forward. "This human did not steal strength from us," they said quietly. "He carried it." They requested custody of the child, under one condition, that the human be listed as witness of first breath. The title had no human equivalent, but it mattered deeply to the Cathari. The request was approved. Observer Threx recorded the moment carefully. For the first time in recorded history, a Cathari child left isolation not in shame, but in gratitude. Elias watched as the child was prepared for transport. He stood at a respectful distance. The child's glow pulsed softly when it saw him. Elias raised a hand slightly. "Goodbye," he said. The child responded with light. Across the galaxy the story spread, not as rumor, as fact. Humans did not conquer. They did not force change. They did not save the day with weapons or power. They stayed. And because they stayed, the galaxy had to rethink what strength truly meant. This was no longer just a story about a dying mother. It was a story about humanity, and it was not finished yet.